But our view is here, bark worse than the bite, whether it's on the auto side, and I continue to view on the China side, even on chips, even though that's pressuring names like Nvidia and others. Just as we've navigated in 2018, 2019, you don't sell these stocks because of it. This is really the AI revolution that ultimately is really being led by, of course, names like Nvidia and Microsoft and others, but Palantir. If you look at what they're doing here, I think this could be the next Oracle or Salesforce. I mean, this was a quarter for the ages that should be hung up in the Louvre when they print that press release off. And I think this is really the start of the next phase of growth for Palantir, which continues to be the Messi of AI.
Dan Ives highlights the ongoing AI revolution, driven by companies like Nvidia, Microsoft, and Palantir. He praises Palantir's recent success, calling it a game-changing moment that positions the company as a potential future giant, akin to Oracle or Salesforce. Generative AI is fueling massive investments, reshaping industries, and driving demand for semiconductors from leaders like Nvidia and AMD, despite bearish market sentiment. SoftBank's $500 billion project Stargate aims to revolutionize AI infrastructure and advance toward artificial superintelligence. Backed by partners like OpenAI and Oracle, the initiative reflects Masayoshi Son's bold, long-term vision, signaling transformative changes in AI and global technology development.
So, really, I mean, when you talk about it being I saw that you were calling it the Oracle or next Oracle or Salesforce. Mm-hmm. Is there going to be a price to be paid by another name in the biz? If Palantir is growing so much, does someone else pay the price?
I don't think so. I mean, I believe this could be $1 trillion market cap, over the next 2-3 years. I mean, you've talked for years. You can't just look at these companies on evaluation over the next year. You have to look through and what this company is doing. And I believe this is a generational type of company that Karp and Palantir built. And I think, look, last night, that was a jaw dropper. And it showed fundamentally, I'd say outside of Nvidia, in terms of some of those earnings, there's no other print and guide that I can remember intact the last few years that matches Palantir.
Yeah, I mean, it's Alex Karp, the mover here. It was up over 25% at one point, right now 22%. We have a whole panel on it, so I'm going to leave that for a moment and get to Apple, where you have a 325 target, you have an outperform. You said the iPhone cycle, some people think it's not so great, but you're saying it's actually better than it seems, and that it takes time for Apple AI. It's not an overnight thing like maybe Nvidia was, or even DeepSeek came in. This is going to take some time, and it's going to be good, very good.
Nicole, I think the consumer AI revolution goes through Cupertino.
All right, let's talk tech now with Glenn Kacher. He is the founder and chief investment officer of Light Street Capital. Get his insights on part of the conversation that we just had. Welcome back. It's nice to see you.
Great to see you as well.
Is now the time to take some chips off the table in the MAG, what some are calling Lag 7 now?
Well, I think Adam's got a great point there that definitely we're seeing increased CapEx spend. And the move that we made as far back as a couple of years ago was to shift a lot of our funds into what I call the AI 5. So those are the companies, the big semiconductor companies that are really taking advantage of this CapEx spend from the MAG 7. So that includes Nvidia, TSMC, AMD, Marvell, and Broadcom. And those are lagging as well this year. They're about in line with the MAG 7, but last year they outperformed by quite a bit.
I wonder then, I mean, if you're leaning into what has been part of the eye of the storm from DeepSeek, right? We had the huge sell-off in a lot of the chips, Nvidia included. I mean, how much clarity do you have in your own mind as to how that trade is going to do and the threat that this all could be?
Well, look, you go back to the basics. There's nothing in the technology pipeline right now that can match the innovation of generative AI. Generative AI creates a customized answer for the user based on real underlying data. And this is a brand new method of computing. It's created a massive investment cycle, over $200 billion a year of CapEx and growing, in order to deliver on what is just an incredible technology, unlike anything else we've seen in my lifetime, certainly. And, this is, if you look back to the DeepSeek scare, look, a month or two earlier, we were worried that things weren't scaling. And then we saw a big scaling event, and now everyone's scared that we're scaling too much. We expect more software scaling. And after the DeepSeek fear, we saw Meta and Microsoft come out and say, look, this is how much we're going to spend. We're not slowing down.
I mean, the Meta run has been unbelievable. The Microsoft, not so much, enough that you got out of it completely, right? You swapped it for another name.
Yeah, we got out of Microsoft last year, still on the Meta. I think it's, as Bryn was saying, it's very clear how they are benefiting from their CapEx spend with the matching of content to users and then matching of ads to both content and users. So that's been very clear, and for us, we continue to really want to have that exposure to semiconductors. If you look at what's happened to the multiples over since the summer, the semiconductor stocks index is basically flat, and over that time, the S&P 500 is up 15%. Meanwhile, semiconductor fundamentals are continuing to improve. So the multiples now are much better for semis. The multiple for the stocks is down about 20% since July to 24.5, and the multiple on the S&P is up 9% since July to 22. So we've really closed the gap there. The relative multiples have compressed by 30% in 6 months. So in our view, semiconductor investors are irrationally bearish at this point. And we're seeing, for instance, short exposure of hedge funds very high, up to a 5-year high in the semiconductors.
Welcome back. Masa Son joined President Trump at the White House just a few weeks ago to announce SoftBank's investment in that massive Stargate AI project. Well, it comes as the company is now reporting a surprise loss of nearly $2.5 billion in its third quarter. Deirdre Bosa has more on the implications in today's Tech Check. Hi, Deirdre.
Hey, Kelly. So that loss mainly attributed to the Vision Fund, Masayoshi Son's massive bet on the startup ecosystem that kicked off in the late 2010s. More interesting, though, were those comments around Project Stargate. That's his next, even more ambitious bet on AI. I was able to find out a few more financing details from a source familiar. SoftBank plans to put in about $15 to $20 billion initially of the expected $500 billion over 4 years. The rest will come from a combination of equity from founding partners, so that's OpenAI, Oracle, MGX, as well as co-investors. There's project and debt financing expected as well. Now, the ambition, of course, just to remind our audience, is to develop next generation AI infrastructure described in this earnings presentation slide from overnight as Masa Son's vision about helping people's lives and solving difficult issues that would otherwise remain unsolved with the power of AI. This next slide I'm going to show you lays out his even grander vision, why he's doing all of this. He wants to reach artificial super intelligence that's further on than AGI. ASI surpasses human intelligence in all aspects, including creativity and problem solving. The 4 pillars that SoftBank points to: chips, data centers, robots, and of course, energy. Also on SoftBank's earnings call and in its slides, which are always distinct, Kelly, SoftBank touts Masa's new powerful relationships. A photo of Masa Son with President Trump, Altman, and Larry Ellison at the White House just a few weeks ago. There's Masa and Altman on stage in Tokyo last week. There's a few more throughout as well. And so what we're really seeing is this return of late 2010s Masayoshi Son, when that $100 billion Vision Fund, and remember his spray and pray strategy of investing single-handedly changed the venture capital startup and startup ecosystem. It had so many implications, Kelly. We're only going to start to see the ramifications of this round's ambitions. Remember, Masayoshi Son has a 300-year vision. He's putting it to work.
The discussion emphasizes the transformative potential of AI, with companies like Nvidia, Microsoft, and Palantir driving innovation and growth. Palantir's strong performance positions it as a future leader akin to Oracle, while massive investments in AI and semiconductors highlight the sector's long-term opportunities despite short-term market concerns. SoftBank's $500 billion project Stargate aims to achieve artificial superintelligence, showcasing the ambition to solve global challenges with advanced AI. These developments signal a pivotal shift in technology, fueled by groundbreaking innovation and investment. Can AI achieve superintelligence and revolutionize industries in the coming years? Which companies do you think will lead the next phase of the AI revolution?